Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the meta report for Grand Arena Championship up season 56. This is 5v5, and we just started our first 5v5 season with all these crazy support, attacker, healer, tank datacrons. They've definitely had a big impact. So the first thing I'm looking at is the best defensive squads by hold rate. And there's not too many surprises here, but there are some for me. So the top team, 47% hold rate is crazy. This is what lost me my last match. I just could not be JMK in time or before I dropped a bunch of battles. But it's that Padme comp with General Kenobi, Ahsoka, and Kat. I don't know if the comp with Jedi Knight Anakin instead of General Kenobi just doesn't qualify for this, but that might be even higher. Gungans are still up there as well, 35%. I did get a win with Phoenix, but I don't think that is super reliable. It is the biggest surprise for me up this high. It's Starkiller with Visas Mar, and I actually was checking on it, and the majority of teams set with this were using that Visas Kron, the Visas in the healer. So they were not using the double attack for attackers. That was only a total of 373. But once you add that Visas Kron and this one, and check out the battles, it is a pretty good win or hold rate against most teams. Reva is an exception. CLS getting crushed. General Grievous getting crushed. Afra getting pretty crushed. Even Sith Eternal with Watt. And that's a lot of stuff. So it's holding against a lot of teams. Not going to filter by a ton of different variations because it would take a ton of time for each one team. Even Jabba having trouble, so you could probably run it in reverse and make it work on Jabba. Bane doesn't really have a hard time, but you need to use something really strong. So I actually think Starkiller might be a solid option on defense. Reva still 33%. There are some common counters to it. Phoenix not necessarily working as well, but we'll dive into that later. Another Palpatine comp, just using Juhani instead of Old Ben. So Old Ben, a little bit better results. Leia, pretty high, although if they don't fix that turn meter loop with Sana and Rolo, it's going to be easy to beat. Malicos is up there. Traya, still really solid. Zori with Rose, 25% hold rate. Jabba's a little bit in there. Gas, Qui-Gon Jinn. And a lot of this also just depends on what teams people are setting a lot of. Like people aren't setting a ton of Sith Eternal Emperor teams, so that's not, even if that was holding, it's probably not going to show up on this list here. And when you get towards the bottom, these are not really great hold rates. Like Darcher, Moff Gideon, Mon Mothma, Tuskens, Raz, like not good options for defense. What's surprising is Rey is doing very poorly. From what it seems like. Now let's just go to the overall counters list. So Rey's the most common defensive team that has been set this season, and perennially, she's usually the top defensive team in terms of how many people set her. But the win rate is 80%. That is not very reassuring from a defensive standpoint. So what are we actually looking at here? So let's just filter by Ben. There's going to be a variety of teams used against it. But inside the most common is Starkiller. A lot more reliable than it has been in the past. Starkiller is working over 90% when you have, I guess, Holdo in there, Resistance Hero Bro. So Jedi Training Rey is messing up a little bit, probably because she cleanses off Rey, if I had to guess. Malicos still destroying Rey. Bane, not like dunking, but really good rates. So several non-GL counters available to Rey. And also, Jedi Master Luke usually has more of a tough time with Rey, but doesn't seem to be. So let's filter by defending Datacron primary, see what's being used the most. So that's the most common, but it's not going to be the most impactful. Is this attacker? No, that's defending Datacron primary. A lot of people using the healer one, but let's check this attacker one. This is what I'm most interested in because I see most people setting this one. Still, Malicos doing pretty dang good. Nest causes a big issue. So Nest is a huge draw when you set her. I'm assuming with her Kron, that's going to be most of the holds. But if you have a Nest Kron, definitely worth setting that with Rey. And that is, let me filter by nest. So that is messing up Starkiller as well. So that really changes things around. And it happened for me. I killed Rey and then Nest killed my Malicos. So that's extremely interesting to me. Like I said, JML getting some play there. But most people are not using a Slicker. There's not too many instances of Slicker against it, but probably not going to hold up there. JMK, I would think would have even an easier time, but it seems like there was a couple drops with this one. And not too many, like two, just a handful across the whole thing. So yeah, Rey, not that amazing. If you do have the Nescaron, go ahead and use that. Jabba, 75% win rate. Again, pretty high. Greedo, we don't want that. We're going to filter for at least Chrysanthemum and Boosh. See what we're working with in Insight. And I want to see the most common cron. So Slicker and JMK, those are the teams that can beat almost anything. Reva is also a pretty great Jabba counter right now with her set 15. Talzin, 2%, but it's probably setting up a lot of 2-shots. Afra, this is what I was trying to make work. When you add B2, it's over 70-80%. It's pretty good. Without B2, not as great. It's still working here and there. Vader helps it, but when you have a team, you're really skimping on it. IG88 and HK not really working out well. What else are some volume counters? I mean, Lord Vader has always been a good option, but there's a little RNG at the beginning. You need a land buff immunity on Chrysanthemum. If you don't, it's going to be difficult for you, but a decent option in there. This one is 57%. I'm not exactly sure what would make this one so bad. Ninth Sister, maybe they're using Inquisitor DC. That's probably it. So let me just check here. I would have to guess people are using Inquisitor DC, and that's not as good as their protection up. Because if they are losing with Ninth Sister, and yeah, a lot of these losses are that Ninth Sister Datacron. And then Jabba, a mirror I think is really solid. You got to run it right. You got to throw the bomb first, get the buff immunity. Other than that, it's pretty easy. Bane, not doing so great. So probably not a good idea to use Bane on Jabba. And Sith Eternal, even with Bane, having a hard time as well. Can get it done. This one, you can kind of disregard stuff like this because Greedo is not a great option. Yeah, Sith Eternal, not awesome there against Jabba. And that's enough for Jabba. Let's move on to Malgus. There's a lot of people setting Malgus, and I'm not sure I agree on that. I'm going to filter by at least the old school Sith Empire trio. That's the best. Bastila, Malik, Darth Revan. See what's working. Watt, pretty easy call. General Skywalker, not working a ton. JML also having some issues. So let's see what the most common popular Datacron with it was. So Tank Revive, of course, and then this super tanky cron. I actually want to look at all three of these, just a spot check to see how each of them are doing because they all can vary. So I'll use Gas and JML as a gauge for that because they're decent value counters. I never like Gas against Malgus. I think it's sketchy, but that's really making it hard for JML, especially to kill Malgus, I would think. I think you have to use the insta-kill on Malgus with Cal if you get to it, and then work through the others. So 77%, 42%. Let's switch that to the Grit. So Grit is only really helping Malgus, not Malik, because Malik already has natural Grit. This is a little bit better. So that's actually much better for Jedi Master Luke. A lot easier there. And then the damage reduction is the last one I'll check. Because Tank Crons seem to be the popular choice here. Well, actually, I will check the support because that is just overall kind of the best. And a worse win rate for JML and Gas, which are more the bargain options. I think Jabba's always going to crush it. JMK. having trouble. That's interesting. Which cron were they using? They were using Bad Cron. Well, see the ones where they lose. So Padme Cron. Oh, that's not Padme Cron. That is interesting. Looks like people are just getting stuck on Malik. Just not able to kill Malik or Malgus, having one left and timing out. Not necessarily dying outright, but having the issue. And let's check that support cron, because the support cron is just the best one. It is just, or like across the board, it seems to be pretty awesome. Yeah, 19% for General Skywalker, because that's really ramping up the crit damage on Revan and Marauder, and then defense on the tanks. So seems like that might still be the best bet. I'm not seeing any really creative counters. Bo-Katan, 50% on that, but I'm not seeing any really off-the-wall counters through this. So that's enough for Malgus, and let's move on to the next. Oh man, I only went through, well, I kind of 4 because I went through Palpatine, but I feel like I need to pick up the pace. This one is just a really complicated set. So filter by Zori. Let's filter by everything. Resistance Hero Bros, and I think Rose were the most effective. Easy win for Malgus, easy win for Afra, chance with CLS, and Night Sisters, but not a slam dunk. Wow, even Traya, not necessarily that surefire. Reva dominates it. Gas has a hard time. Wow, so not a bad team. Starkiller, JML, easy. Grievous having a difficult time. Troopers, I mean, that's you got to get the right setup. If you don't, you're gonna get crushed. Wampa only 8%, and people are probably trying to use the cron too, and it's just not enough. Yeah, several Wampa crons in there. And defending Datacron primary, most common one for level 6, attacker. So let's just filter by that and see that, because there's a lot of attackers on the team. Doesn't shift the game too much, except Traya has a massively harder time. Only 25% win rate. So the attacker thing probably, gas, 22%. And 0 for Wampa. Troopers still doing fine. That might be the way to go. Not sure, not going to give final judgment. Bo-Katan getting smoked. So this is still a viable defensive team, I think. I mean, there's some counters here and there, but most of it is really strong stuff that I'm seeing. So I would, if you're setting Finn and Zori on defense, I just keep it up. It's not going away. Qui-Gon Jinn, 86% win rate. Not really awesome there. I can't say for sure, but I think having Keller and Beck, and I don't like Keller and Beck lead right now. I think that was only great when you had his Datacron. I think Qui-Gon and Grand Arena is the best, but I'll filter Keller and Beck, leave the 5th as kind of a variable. Bad Batch is a common option, but not necessarily that safe. You're gonna have to have pretty good control and get the speed advantage, and it's easy for Qui-Gon to outspeed an Echo, especially with Cam's speed boost. Inquisitors have an easy time. JML easy. Gas at CLS, better shot than Bad Batch, but not necessarily amazing. Malgus crushing it. Grievous hard time. Bo-Katan crushing it. And the most common cron, I'm guessing it's still Galactic Republic damage reduction. Yes, so let's just check that out. Even less for Bad Batch. JML still awesome. Malgus still awesome. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon is a great option. 94% is not bad at all. Let me see if it makes a difference when you have TIE Fighter Pilot. Not really. It's very close. C, easy. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people come across this. I don't think it's a very common front wall team, so a lot of people end up being able to overkill that. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, definitely a great option. If you don't have like Death Night Trooper or Death Trooper Peridia, and you're not like a Juggernaut, It's a great option for your Dark Giraffe Gideon. I fall in that category, as I'm sure most do. I want to look at Maul, but I also want to look at Imperial Super Commando first. So Imperial Super Commando and Gar. Still mostly getting dominated by Bo. JML, this is the comp I normally use. Still able to get around it. They are like a machine gun. It's pretty crazy. And interestingly enough, JML doing better than JMK. But JMK also always has a few lose conditions in there. If Lord Vader gets a few ults off, he can wipe out most of the team with AoE. Fennec, a lot better than I'm used to seeing. And there's not even BAM in there, so that's interesting. I would think you need BAM, but it's a little bit better. Bane, pretty good. Seems like the type of team where you want a tank to hold for him and not just a sacrificial lamb like Dooku. What else? Leia, easy. Easy banners, easy win. Slicker, easy win. Not a ton of non-GLs. I mean, Bo. Reva's in there. That is, again, just Gar and ISC. So let's filter them out. Add Maul. See what we're working with. Add our Datacron primaries. So the protection up is very interesting to me. So I want to pick that one. And let's see. The attacker one's very popular. Let's check that out. Slightly reduces the win rate of Bo-Katan in this variant with Malicos. It's a lot lower. So to me, that doesn't seem worth it to throw your Malicos in with Lord Vader, but it's an option. JML still easy when there's Maul. Bo-Katan, by and large, the most popular. Fennec, no chance with Maul in there, really. 0 out of 22 battles. I continue to think that JML is the best option. And this one was Zam instead of BAM. BAM or Zam, that's your choice. But Omicron Zam, that's safe to assume that it's Omicron Zam, has more of a shot, which is interesting to me. I always think that Beskar Mando is necessary to survive. But of course, it could be a lot of Relic 9 Bosks. That's not too many instances. So we can't read into it too much. Yeah, so that's it for Lord Vader. Moving on to the next one, we got... Well, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Leia. So Leia's 67% win rate. That's actually good in comparison to a lot of the teams. But I have a feeling that's going to get worse until bugs get fixed. So for Leia, I also want to filter by the support cron, because I think that is like this tank thing. It's whatever. I think the support cron is its strongest ability, unless no one's using it. Man, only 677. So I'll look at the tank cron of this just because there's so few instances. Bane, coin flip. Reva going easy. I filtered by just Drogon and R2. So any variants, Mon Mothma, Ben, Captain Rex, they're all going to be in there. A lot of people using Slicker. Bane's not doing that great. Slicker seems the safest. JMK not even that great. Jabba, no go. General Grievous, pretty much no go. And this is against the support cron, but not too many people are using it. So I'll add what people are most commonly using, which is this tank cron. I don't really think that's the best. Reva having a much harder time with Stormtrooper Han. So let's look at that. I feel like a lot of people will be interested in that. So Stormtrooper Han. And we will just go ahead and add his cron. So we're not assuming incorrectly, because it's not 100% of them. Like that, but Stormtrooper Han. And I want to look for that Sana loop team, Rolo, see if that's working. Yeah, someone asked if that works against Stormtrooper Han Cron. I said yes, and yes, very much so. This is the comp I ran. This is the safest one with Captain Rex. He has tons of debuffs, a lot of survivability, AoE days, offense up. Makes it faster, makes it better, 100% win rate. So you see here, and this is exactly what I was saying. Rolo, if you put 3PO and Chewie there instead of Captain Rex, 69%. So, yeah, you don't have to have Captain Rex, but you probably should do it, okay, if you're going to run that. But overall, Stormtrooper Han definitely helping out and getting some losses, getting some holds against Slicker. JMK actually does better against Stormtrooper Han because you're not getting turn meter anyway. Bane, pretty much a no-go. Let's remove Stormtrooper Han and take him off of consideration. This is just so interesting to me because she's a really good defensive team. 5%, 8%. Don't use Bane on Leia anymore. It only worked well with his Super Kron, where you got the free expendable unit that came back over and over and over again. Grievous, yeah, don't try it, 7%. Unless you really, really know what you're doing somehow. Just overall Rolo win rates. And this is what led me to make the video using Captain Rex instead of 3PO and Chewie. It's 100% win rate here. If we had Captain Rex, just very high win rate. And this one here, this has Baze Malgus instead of Commander Luke. So let's filter by Commander Luke too. Look at that, straight hundos. So yeah, CLS, Captain Rex. This one doesn't have Cassian, so maybe Cassian is expendable, but it's again a lower win rate. But when you have Cassian in there, straight hundos against a variety of comps. Super interesting. They're probably going to nerf it, but you might get a chance to take advantage of it if people are still setting their Leia, which they probably shouldn't. And we keep going. This might be a long one because I'm like over 20 minutes in and still have tons of teams to go over. So let's do Gungans with Jar Jar Binks. Without Jar Jar Binks, it's pretty easy Phoenix fodder, so not going to do that. There's two big options for this team, so I'm going to filter by this necessarily. And then after that, most people, or 2/3 of people, are using Boss Nass, and the rest are using Jar Jar Binks, as long as they have it available. So let's look at Boss Nass first. The more popular one, Traya, pretty bad, less than even odds. JML, less than even. Savage lead, a little bit better than Traya, less instances, could be more specialized use. Reva doing very well. That is very good. I am surprised, but that's really strong. So definitely an option to consider. Reva, JMK, probably the safest thing you'll find out there. Leia's great too, 90% win rate, and my thought is Radis Jin is better than Mon Mothma Old Ben, but they're pretty even. Stormtrooper Han seems to make it better. Bane, not a good use for your Bane. Don't use Bane on Gungans. Bo, this is what I used last season and was happy with it, but still probably not your best option. Another Reva instance looking great. That's with Ninth Sister instead of Eighth Brother. Might be something to that. Even throwing in Malik with Bane not working. General Skywalker, nope. Phoenix, not great. I did win with Phoenix. I think it was against Jar Jar Kron. But Phoenix, not a great option. I was one of the small percentage that won with it. But I did use the support Kron. So let's just actually check that out. So let me see. Adding the support Kron, attacking data Kron primary. How much does that change things? As opposed to the Sabine Kron, because most people are using Sabine, and that's an attacker. Kron. 64% win rate. That's better overall. That is both with, that could be either Boss Nass or Jar Jar. So let's look at Boss Nass in a bubble. Still 66%. So I think either way, it was going fine. Let's unfilter Phoenix, leave the support Kron on for attacking and see how we're doing. Better with Leia, 100%. It's smaller. It's actually a pretty small sample size, so let me take that off. Gungans, yeah, I think Reva or Leia might be the best value in safety because it's pretty brutal. Traya, Savage. I know top players are modding specifically for it if they want to use it. So, you know, just take that with a grain of salt. You could make it work probably better if you really went to it. Reva. So let's just filter by her datacron because that's very common. The vast majority are using that one, and it's kind of assumed they have the 15% health and offense. Bane, I think it's very solid use for Bane, because Reva is definitely scary. Not a sure thing with Malgus or Traya. Phoenix, even with a pre-taunt, still 57%, so not reassuring. JMK even having a hard time. So Reva, yeah, great use for Bane. That's one of my votes. If you're going to use your Bane, where you're going to use your Bane. It's bringing a Kylo. That's really rough. That's not with Special Forces Kron. Let me see what it is with Special Forces. Where is he? There he is. Oh, yeah. So, probably don't do it. Not a great option there for Reva. Bane is looking really good as far as a go-to option. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Next up, we got JMK. Top dog. Best defensive team in the game right now. So let's just filter by Padme and Cat. So we'll have Anakin and GK as options. Defending Datacron primary. Let's do Padme and Protection Disruption. So mirror, very speed dependent. If you're going straight up mirror without like Yoda to bait them out and draw the insta kill, not going to be the best. But if you are using Yoda, it goes up because they'll use the insta kill on Yoda. Slicker, it's dicey. That's what I did myself, and it's not pretty. Leia was 60%. That's better than the previous season, and I did win with Leia eventually in my most recent match. Reva not doing it. My gosh, Slicker without Special Forces is complete toast. Just non-starter. 3%. My goodness. Set the turn even with Bane. No. 25% not good. There are not many options for this team. You have to plan extensively for this team. Jabba, complete goose egg, 0. And this contraption of a team where they have Thrawn to draw the insta-kill, and you got Watt, and you got a pre-taunt, you got armor, still only 34%. Bow, 6%. I cannot wait for this Datacron to expire. It's insane. Yeah, JMK, nothing to mess around with. No easy ways out there. I need to get rid of this tab. It keeps defaulting to it. Queen Amidala. So I just made the video about this team as well recently. So let's filter by Padawan, Obi-Wan, and Master Qui-Gon. You have an insight. Gas is working somewhat. Gas and Bane. So there's two big things. I want to see the Padawan Obi-Wan Kron, and which is the same as last season, right? So if people have this, I can pretty much assume they got a good level 6 because they wailed out. Not that great for gas. Not that great for Bane. JMK is the safe bet, but there's not much to it. Let me filter by Zori for this one, because I want to know if it's working against Palkron. It's kind of a toss-up. There's not many instances. Overall, this is looking like 50%. So keep that in mind. If people do have the Whale Cron, they're still probably sitting pretty. This support one is pretty OP though. But the counter I showed you is, I don't know what happened with this one loss, but it's pretty nice. If you didn't watch the video I just put out on it, you need Lobot to be fastest. It's pretty easy because of his uniques. Then you want BB-8 to go. Then Sortie, or BB-8 taunts. Sortie throws out the AoE. T3 gives offense up with its middle special to Dark Trooper. Dark Trooper AoEs, and you want to mod Dark Trooper for crit chance, so you guarantee a crit. Take advantage of that jacked up crit damage. one-shot the whole team. It's crazy. So that cut variant was tough, but yeah, Zori got it done. And with the Sport Cron, even worse win rates for Gas, but some better win rates for Bane. This is a variant with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jedi Anakin that has pretty high win rate, but the 58% one was when you have Shaak Ti and Yoda. They're valuable just because they're support. So like adding supports on the team definitely helps out. So I recommend that droid setup. You might have them modded in the right turn order even without realizing it. But super tough team. Traya gets blown out of the water. Gas, super risky. JML gets crushed. It's hard. It is not an easy proposition. Grievous, I'll take a quick look. I'm not even going to do many filters, but I don't think it's doing that awesome. So filter by Stap. Wampa beats it. Yeah, I don't think Grievous belongs on defense. Night Sisters 86%. And those are not in-demand teams. Those are easy leftover stuff. So you're not going to want to use those. So I might be able to move through these a little bit faster. Dash. A lot of varieties that you can have with Dash team. So let's put Nest, because Nest is really strong Cron. Gas dominates it. CLS has a hard time. Traya easy. JML easy. Starkiller pretty easy. Bo-Katan. So you're using something strong on it. Yeah, for it's not that valuable anymore. Night Sisters, pretty good win rate. And Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. So lots of options. And I think Nest is probably the strongest component there. If we have the support Datacron, let me check that out, because that is not using Nest. But Dash is a support and does a lot of debuffs. You just need some attackers on the team. Theoretically, that can do a lot. Okay, maybe not. So, easy wins for CLS and a bunch of stuff. CLS is not high demand right now, so that's an easy pick to just take out a Dash if you see it. Already looked at Palpatine and Starkiller. Raz is easy, Phasma. I can almost guarantee Iden is just getting crushed by Radis. Yeah, so not too much to dive in there. A lot of people trying Wampa. I think Radis is the safest overall. Wampa or Radis. So those are easy. Not recommended on defense. Seer Junda. Make sure we have Malicos there. Everything else is kind of up to what people are using. And I think people would probably be using the double attack Cron. Well, no, not really. They're still using Bulk and Night Sister. Well, actually, the support is, yet again, extremely strong, because you have a lot of debuffs coming from Cal, and then Seer's in there too, and juicing up Malicos. So safe bet is C with 2 babysitters, or with his 1 superior babysitter. Malgus is working here when there's Ninth Sister, but not Crew. So if I would have to guess that Crew causes an issue because Malak can't just force drain him really easily. JML has a hard time. JMK easy. Gas hard time. Jabba pretty solid. So this is with the support Cron. Let me filter by attacker Cron. There's not a ton of them. But it's extra attacks for Malicos and Fulcrum. So it's still pretty good. Set is better with C than just Watt, and it's almost indistinguishable when you add Watt. Watt is good for slowly regenerating health and protection back, not massive amounts of damage, so that's probably why that doesn't matter. JMK slam dunk. JML hopeless, basically. Malgus is a very popular choice, and there are instances where it's winning, but not when you have the full team. So let's filter by Cal and Fulcrum. People are winning when there's no Crew. So if you see Crew, don't try Malgus. That's my takeaway here. And then a lot of stuff is going to be easier, but it's a really strong team. Valuable either on offense or defense. All right, I just took a little break, but we got to keep going. This is going to be a long video. Hopefully I can wrap it up kind of soon. Geos, I just kept, 93% win rate. I would look at Mon Mothma like next week with Luthen. I'm not doing a video for that though. I am interested to see how that does, but not really right now. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. So I am interested in the comp with the new tunes. I hate that I said tunes, but I think Radis is still pretty good option when you don't have like Night Trooper and Death Trooper Peridia. Let's find those guys. There they are. Night Trooper with Night Trooper Kron is insane. I had a lot of difficulty against it. So Malgus is pretty good. Death Trooper Peridia. Let's just filter all the way. So we have the two best new characters. Malgus, pretty safe. Bo-Katan having a hard time. JML. It's funny when it's like JML is always like the laughing stock of GLs where you just use him against non-GLs, but then sometimes he's not even good there. Gas hard. Radis, complete no-go, 4%. Malgus looking really solid. I mean, this is probably the best value for Malgus I've seen so far. Lord Vader, pretty good. Darth Revan, Reva, not tons of instances, but this is just a crazy team. Traya gets obliterated. Jabba's pretty good, actually. It's kind of surprising to me because of how good Dark Trooper Moff Gideon was against Jabba when he first came out. Slicker, Slam Dunk, Malicos. I tried that. That was a bad idea. So I'm probably one of these, honestly. This might be me. Yeah, that's me. That's my fail. It's pretty bad. Okay, I guess that's enough for Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Talzin, I'll take a quick look. Actually, pretty decent. Getting some holds. I mean, revive prevention is always going to be dominant against it, but people trying Imperial Troopers, CLS didn't have a great go. Wampa not really working well. So I mean, it's something I'm not going to recommend it at all, but like in bounty hunters are still pretty safe with the insta kills and perma kills. Trench, this one is a potential strong one, and what is win rate? 81. That's pretty high win rate actually. Defending Datacron primary. Low support one. And I won't filter by walk because that's going to exclude a lot of good battles. So Gas has a shot. Traya, pretty dominant. We will filter by having Watt himself, though. This is the tried and true best team. Our best comp for it. Malicos easy. Starkiller pretty dang good. JML easy. Reva easy. Wampa no go. Phoenix is actually pretty solid. Grievous no go. Gungans dominate. Traya underband still good, so no Scion. Babach, oof, no go. 23%. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, pretty bad. That's without. That's the peons. That's without the crazy good new characters. Afra, chance. Starkiller, you got to get things started off right with Starkiller. Looks like this Jedi training array comp is pretty good. Starkiller's just pretty good right now. Several options. You could go Attacker Kron, Healer Kron. Just great. And next we got Traya. And Traya gonna filter by Nihilus and Savage. Sith Eternal, I mean, that's a great use of Sith Eternal to just take it out. Watt definitely helps. Gas, not a great option. I mean, his Slicker obvious. Automatic Bane, not guaranteed. Malgus. Ooh. So yeah, that is tough for Malgus. Tough for Starkiller. Which it doesn't stray too much from how it has been. Reva. Yeah, I wouldn't try that at all. CLS, no way. So what are really good options? Even Bo-Katan, 31%. Yeah, this is a really solid defensive team. There's not really many great options. I think Sith Eternal's probably, like, I would love to use Sith Eternal here. Like, I feel like I had such good value out of that choice. Watt's not, I think Watt belongs with Trench on defense at the current moment. But yeah, not many great options for this. I mean, a lot of things are winning half the time, but still tough. General Skywalker. CLS beating it, but not like dominating. Mira's still an option. Sith Eternal solo, not really great. I'm actually going to filter by the damage reduction. That is most popular choice, and I think probably the best choice. JML easy. Well, even worse with the mirror. Even worse for C solo. It's a tough team. Starkiller looking pretty good. Malgus, no. Hall, no. Yeah, see, I mean, another great option for C, Watt, if you're willing to bring Watt. Terrible for Bo-Katan. It's a strong team. It's good. You're going to need to overkill it with something. Malicos is pretty strong. Gar I see. Don't do 0. No wins. Gar and I see. Skip Phoenix. Well, maybe not. 78% win rate. And they do a lot of debuffs. There's that and Sabine. I mean, really high win rates. Like Tuskens. I have not shown Tuskens as an option for anything in a long time. So Sabine, let's check the Sabine Cron then. Still easy target for Tuskens, and Tuskens are not great on defense right now. In 5v5. Dark Room I'm getting. Yeah, plenty of options for Phoenix. I was right to think I could skip them. I'm going to skip Ewoks. JML, 62% win rate on Slicker. People throwing JMK at it. JML is having a hard time. So Bane, I've used Bane to great success against Slicker, but I was always adding like Malgus or Malik. A lot of times Malgus, and it was really good. Oh, Malik, that's still only 6%. There's not a significant number of instances for Malgus, so I can't really show that with any kind of reliability. I mean, yeah, it's something. You're gonna have to deal with it. I mean, Reva's an option. Giant Revan lead Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. I'm pretty sure that is about making sure Revan gets used savior on himself primarily. Not much else. Leia is still difficult, so it's a tough team. On defense, I think Slicker Cron is best. If you had Special Forces TIE Pilot, it's a lot easier to just plan around. The win rate from JML goes up. Amir's up. Reva, it's way up. Okay, so that's pretty much Kylo. Definitely still an offensive team in my mind. Don't really want to look at Maul. I do want to look at Saw for sure. Kyle Katarn is the only one we want to guarantee is in there. And all this talk like hurts my throat. So this is a crazy team with all the debuffs. CLS dominating it without Captain Rex, and that's not really great. So let's add Captain Rex in there, see what that's like. Lower win rate there. Gas, still a great option. Traya. Bo-Katan's pretty good. Malgus, great. I mean, Malgus, they're getting a lot of fear out there, and they're preventing crits. The crit avoidance is huge for that, for sure. Malicos seems to be tearing it up. So you need an A team. You need a pretty strong team. If they have Captain Rex, if they don't, you can use CLS. Skip Tuskens. Getting close to the end of the line here. Afra, skipping that. Zori, I don't think people... Let me look for that one comp and see if it was actually... Because it could also just be shut down easily by CLS. Let me put... Where's Dark Trooper? I think Dark Trooper naturally opens with AoE. Not a ton of instances. Not enough instances to really make any remarks. Bo-Katan, this I think is supposed to be pretty solid. I'm going to filter by the attacker. Kron. Yep, and that is the most popular. Level 6. Not a ton of people setting it. Traya is good against it. That's probably a go-to. Traya and JML. Gas. That's not great banners. Leia, I mean, there's not many instances. And I think that's a good thing. If you're trying to set a tricky defense, that's something that doesn't have a ton of instances and not a lot for people to scout. Okay, I think I'm going to call it that. This video's gone on quite long enough. This was interesting for me. I hope it is for you. A lot of things surprised me and a lot of good intel to move forward into in the next few seasons, or the next few rounds of this season. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time.